Good afternoon. This is Sam Vaughn for Sam Sports Report. Tyrann Mathieu retires after a long career. Tyrann Mathieu announced Tuesday that he retires from football at 33 years old. Mathieu played for 12 seasons, making NFL safety following a standout college career at LSU. He played his last 3 seasons as a New Orleans Saints and also played for the Chiefs. More news on NFL football. The Buccaneers have placed offensive tackle Tristan Wirfs and Chris Godwin on the PUP list as camp begins, while Anthony Walker landed on the active non-football injury list. And also, defensive lineman Demond Watson was placed on the active non-football illness list. Trey McClain expresses frustration publicly last week and now stays away this week with the two sides on a contract dispute. The Cowboys are discussing with Micah Parsons. Cowboys seem to renew everybody's contract, so I don't see why they wouldn't with one of the best defensive players in the league. But Jerry Jones isn't making the smartest comments about this situation. Jones says Parson could be hit by a car.
The question is aimed at Stephen Jones, Jerry's son, and this is what happened.
Oh, God.
Contracts are 4 or 5 years. Okay? There's a lot of water under the bridge if you step out there and do something in the first 2 or 3. You can get hit by a car. Seriously. And so there's a lot to look at over a lot of years that could make a big difference. Have you ever heard of any clubs committing to players and then they didn't pan out after they committed to them?
In baseball, the Royals rocked the Cubs after trailing 4-1. The Royals scored 9 unanswered runs. And Jonathan India had hit an RBI and came around to score. Bobby Witt Jr. had 2 hits and had 2 RBIs and scored 2 runs. Miguel Garcia had 2 hits and scored 2 runs as well. John Rave had 2 hits and a homer and 2 RBIs. Salvador Perez had 2 homers and 4 RBIs. Something the Royals have been looking for is Salvador to hit the ball. He's hit more, as he's hit 12 home runs in his last several games. About 10, I think. Jack Caglione hit a homer. Kyle Isbell had 3 hits but no RBIs. And after a second inning, Noah Cameron was nails. He gave up 4 runs in the second inning, but was nails after that. The Royals had the most runs of the season. Tonight, 45-year-old Rich Hill will take the mound. A former Cub will make his Royals debut. It makes me feel like maybe I still have a chance at the major leagues. Matthew Boyd will go for the Cubs. He's at a stellar with 2.34 ERA. The Cubs have over 80. Cubs have a percentage of 80% of winning against the Royals tonight. And the Cubs will bring to the mound Matthew Boyd. He will go for the Cubs. Again, game time tonight from Wrigley Field is at 7:05 Central Time. We will get to a show Thursday or Wednesday, but hopefully we'll have time to get to the maybe they get time to get to the show on Wednesday about baseball, about the Cubs and the Royals. But if we don't, we'll talk about that more tomorrow.
UF Health Jacksonville offers transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS, a procedure which is FDA approved and has been given to thousands of patients successfully treating their depression. It involves using electromagnetic energy focused on a certain part of the brain that is underactive in patients with depression. The electromagnetic energy stimulates those cells, bringing them back up to normal activity and restoring normal mood in many of the patients who undergo the treatment.
The main side effects are some scalp irritation from just actually where the electromagnet is. And that's usually during the first couple of treatments and gets better. And we haven't had to stop a treatment because of this. Some tension type headaches can emerge. There is a risk for seizures, which occur in about 1 in 80,000 to 1 in 90,000 treatments.
The process of care with TMS, at first we do 2 maneuvers. One is called threshold determination. We determine how much energy we have to deliver to the brain so it will activate the brain. And then we call the second procedure mapping, and that's where we find the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. So at the end, we have a stimulation that will activate the brain, that will go precisely to the anatomical structure in the brain that's underactive in depression.
And what's amazing is that everyone here in the clinic is able, not just the psychiatrist is able to notice the difference in patients, just in getting their vitals or asking them how they're doing today when they walk in the door. And that's very rewarding. I've been very encouraged by the success we've had in our clinic. I can think of one patient who I'd been treating for several years with many medications, a dozen or more, and he had really lost his zeal for life, going through the motions, keeping a job, but not enjoying life, you know. And within a couple weeks of starting this treatment, myself and the whole clinic could see him carrying himself differently. We could see the spark of life and passion start to light up in his eyes. And his life is completely transformed now.
Depression is a common disorder in human beings. Unfortunately, a large portion of that patient population does not respond to the traditional therapies that we have available, psychotherapy and medications. However, UF Health Jacksonville now has transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS, a procedure that will be effective in helping over half of those patients who have not responded. So there is hope out there with this new procedure to help patients who have been treatment resistant to this point.